Well,
Recap, take two, ready?
No, it's all good. Adventure begins. Yeah.
Click.
But yeah, you guys are in Tiamat's inner sanctum after Windfall and Cass's escape, and leaving with Lepus, who seem to aid in their departure. I know you guys RP'd a bit in the RP channel, and I did read through all of it. I'm going to probably gain some interesting insights over the course of the adventure that I'll be able to use, so I'm glad I put that in the channel for you guys. Man, you guys went hard. It was fun.
yeah. I think it was a little under 8,000 words
I know,
that we typed up.
I know, like, even, like, the next day, like, I could hear I came home from work and the Discord was still going off, and I was like, they're still RPing about that. I told my girlfriend, they're still talking about it last night. But it was a good session. That was a fun session.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys like to do here?
Are we? So we're resuming back in. You said Windfall's office.
Yeah, you guys can retreat. I mean, after you piece out the dragon parts, the devils carry the useful stuff off to the forges to begin working on your guys' magical items or enhancements. Putting those fire giants to work. And yeah, you guys can retreat back up the tunnel into Windfall, into the Ruby Sanctum, and then into Windfall's personal quarters.
I certainly would like to sort of explore her office, because Jin is kind of playing catch up as far as this sort of interaction between Windfall and the party is going.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to ask him about that, as you guys make your way back up into her chambers, you could do that.
He'll look around on his own first, see what he can find.
Oh yeah.
And
So the first thing that really stands out, probably to all of you at first, in the I think I have a. Oh yeah. So yeah, back up. This in between the. Oh, maybe I'll turn off dynamic lighting here.
On their way back, Avathor will ask his new second in command about any insights he could provide about Windfall.
Yeah, I wish I had wrote down that demon's name when I said it, because I kind of just made it up on the spot. It was like Garaxus or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Garaxus says, Windfall has been running the Red Belvedere since even before Lord Bell was in charge of the harness. She comes and goes as she pleases. Sometimes she's absent from the Red Belvedere for long stretches of time. Where she goes, she keeps to herself, but she often brings back strange artifacts that I believe to be not of this world.
Does she keep an inventory of these artifacts anywhere around here?
That's a good question. You guys can give me some investigation checks for Windfall's personal quarters.
Okay.
One thing that stands out that is clear to all of you is on Windfall's desk there are like folders, paperwork, files. There are bookshelves lining the walls of Windfall's room, and a big plush bed in one corner of the alcove. And then her kind of simple work desk is just covered in papers and books. There's a file called The First World, and This file sort of details how Tiamat worked alongside the Platinum Dragon, Bahamut, to shape the material plane in the form of a single first world. And some unknown cataclysm sundered the first world, resulting in numerous universes that now occupy the material plane. And there's another separate file titled the Ruby Dragon. And there are some notes in there about while creating this first world, Bahamut and Tiamat also created Sardior, a dragon with ruby scales. And Sardior was destroyed during the sundering of the first world. And so these two files are kind of like an alternate detailing of like a creation theory of Faerun that is different from the one known to normal history. And there is another file titled the Simulacrum Project. And that one has some notes talking about how Windfall has acquired a piece of something called the Rod of Seven Parts some time ago. And she used it to create an image of Sardior. Windfall hopes to find a way to use this rod piece to bring the image to life. And it was kind of the projection that was in the Ruby Sanctum that was there before she took the piece hovering between the two pieces of stone there that I think only Lep saw. And the final file, which is probably the one that's going to be most interesting to you guys, is titled The Prophecies of Windfall. And written in the pages are these 5 prophecies that are carefully written out in this swirling, beautiful handwriting. That's probably Windfall's handwriting. And these are the 5 prophecies written within this folder. Did anyone... Yeah, Jin, you find a couple of things in Windfall's personal quarters here. First of all, you discover a button that causes Windfall's cozy bed to sort of rotate around, and there's like a some kind of vault that's housed on the opposite side. Like, you can see that there's a lock, and it's just kind of like a flat, almost like a safe. Her bed's like doubles as a safe underneath.
Curious.
You also discover within the there are a lot of other lavish objects around Windfall's office that are kind of mundane. They're like art pieces, essentially. But you do find among the bookshelves a something that maybe you recognize as quite magical. And it has not been used. You find a Tomb of Leadership and Influence.
Ooh. That's, I'm sure somebody will appreciate that.
So yeah, you probably have to find a way to get her bed safe open.
Yeah, I'll take a crack at that. I'll pull out a couple of very, very ancient-looking set of tools. And with your permission, I will try and open that safe.
And I would say what stands out about the prophecies of Windfall, to something would probably stand out to them, or to you, Jin, and to you, Mercy, being from Eberron, that some of these resemble the prophecies that are told back on Eberron about
Dragon marked houses, 12 bloodlines.
Yes, there are all kinds of myths about the creation of Eberron as well, back on Eberron. And the true nature of Eberron's creation is unknown to pretty much everyone, but prophecies have sprouted over time about the creation of Eberron, about moments in Eberron's history, and some prophecies that have been discovered or spread throughout Eberron's history have come true. Many of them revolve around the beginning or the end of Eberron. And these are some prophecies that perhaps Windfall has uncovered or written down in her time on Eberron. So it does seem that Windfall has some interest in Eberron and has been there herself.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Yes, and then you can use your thieves' tools if you'd like.
Intelligence or dexterity?
It could go either way. It's up to you.
They're the same number, so it doesn't matter. 13, probably not going to do it.
Yeah, the Windfall's personal safe here in hidden away under her bed is a complicated lock, and you struggle.
It's been it's been a century or two since
It's
I've
okay. You tried your best.
had call to use these. He sort of sheepishly puts them away. Do I not have knock? That's a shame. That would be useful here.
Avatar will look to Caraxus and tell him to just smash the lock.
By all means, where depth skill fails, by all means, brute force.
Garaxus Garaxus will use his own their own personal magic to cast knock on Windfall's bed 3 times, and on the third time it opens. And within Windfall's safe, there are a number of things. There are kind of like a stack of, what would be like passports of like different identities that all kind of like resemble Windfall, but they have like different names and stuff like that. She looks a little different in all of them. There is a sack of 50 dragon shards, and there are a couple of like energy weapons. There's a set of pistols and like there's like a black case, and inside the case is a like probably a long range sniper rifle that could be screwed together. And then there are currencies of like probably several different worlds, stacks of currencies from several different worlds, coins that are unrecognizable, still made out of familiar materials of like silver and gold, electrum and platinum, but they're just alien in nature. They don't look like any coins you've ever seen on Faerun.
I will turn to Malifar at this point with a just sort of question. Um, this windfall seems to be very well traveled. Um, yeah, how did you meet this person?
We met her in Neverwinter. Um, we had traveled to Neverwinter at the behest of the ruler, and apparently she was pissed off that we killed her lover. Oh, sucks to be her.
It really does.
Dragon shards, advanced energy weapons, passports for different planes, currencies for at least 6 different planes that I recognize, and a few that I don't. Your your enemy is very worldly.
Yeah, well, she certainly knows how to pick her allies. I have no doubt Lip is going to drive some form of insanity upon her.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Aside from the vault and the book, is there anything else of note in our office?
Mm. I mean, some of these art objects would probably be valuable to the right buyer. I'd have to come up with maybe a list of things from different worlds that would have piqued Windfall's interest that she collected over time. But I can come up with that between sessions and give it to you guys if you want it. With their values and stuff.
Lilith is gonna pick up one of the pistols and start looking at it. Mercy, this kind of
When
looks
you
like the one
do,
you have.
when you pick it up, you see Jin flinch.
Oh, are you okay? I can put it down.
We should perhaps have a discussion very soon about the operation and safety of these weapons.
Yeah, that might be a smart idea.
And I will take the pistols, I put them on my person, and I'll pass the sniper rifle to Mercy, who is perhaps a bit more familiar in its operation.
Mercy will gladly take that, but insist that Jin takes the dragon shards.
I will happily accept those.
Yeah, she owes you more anyway.
We'll probably get into this at some point.
Yep.
If my memory serves me correctly, there are like 3 kinds of dragon shards, and the type of dragon shard just kind of correlates to how much power it has, and the majority of these are like the dragon shards that you carry, which like function as quivers or 20 rounds of ammunition. So they're like the lowest level of a dragon shard's power, but 5 of them are these deep purple shards of kind of smooth looking glass, and they are the highest level of dragon shard power that we can come up with. In terms of like value, to put it into perspective, like a standard everyday dragon shard that more people have access to, that they use back on Eberron to power their magical endeavors, one would be worth maybe like 1 platinum piece, and a purple dragon shard would probably be worth like 100 platinum piece, so it's like 100 to 1 value. So you could power yourself on Eberron with a purple dragon shard for quite some time. I'd say even the 5 that are in that stash, if something happened to like the crystal that powers your ship, Mercy, that these 5 purple shards could power it in the event that something, you know, horrible befell your vessel.
That'll never happen.
Oh no,
Why
the
did you
evil
say
DM
that?
chuckle.
So there are 5 purple and 45 regular.
Yeah, orange. They're kind of an orange hue.
Got it.
Mercy's actually going to rifle through the passports. These may give us names to look out for as we travel. Guises she uses.
Mercy, you can give me as you're rifling through the passports, maybe give me an insight check.
Okay.
I'd say that this 11 is probably good enough because it's common enough knowledge on your world.
Hang on, do I get the bonus from my hunter stuff because she's undead?
Well, now that Windfall's undead, yeah, does that give you bonuses to checks to investigate your favorite enemy? This is gonna be Windfall's downfall here, that she's undead now.
Proficient and double proficiency.
So you'd have like another +3 to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's even a 14 would be high enough. Almost an 11. It's just kind of this spark of thought in the back of your mind as you're gazing at the pictures, the different pictures. You realize as you're looking at them that like it doesn't seem like Windfall is like dressed up to look differently. You're looking at the pictures and you can see that to you it looks like she's like either the best makeup artist there's ever been, or that she really truly, there's just little differences in her facial features and stuff in each one of these images in the passports, and you have this thought in the back of your mind that maybe Windfall is a shifter.
That's interesting.
Or what are they called? A changeling. A changeling. What is that race called?
Good.
What is it called again?
I think it's
Changelings, right?
Changeling, yeah, changeling.
Which I also have bonuses against.
I have my Everon uploaded here. Yeah, changeling. Yeah.
Yeah, Mercy's going to mention that too.
Looking over the passports, do I recognize any of those faces? I'm not expecting to, but it never hurts to ask.
I mean, I guess I would have. I would say that. I mean, this is a point where we can like develop character backstory. I mean, eventually at some point I want to have probably like little one-on-ones with each of you guys to talk a little bit about your characters and stuff for the kinds of things they want to experience throughout the game and get a little better grasp on. Jin, I think, is probably the PC that I have the lowest grasp on in terms of your character's own personal backstory and how you envision their life before now. You know what I mean? So I would say that maybe no, that's okay. I mean, it's these kinds of things. Like, this is an excellent moment to like add something in so that you could say you do recognize one of them, and then we can work that in. Work backwards from there.
Maybe she was doing a contract at some point, or maybe I bumped into her at port somewhere. Or maybe we passed each other in the crowd.
Here's what I'll tell you. Now that I'm thinking about it a little more. What that off the top of my head, the house that was worked with the Warforged, that made the Warforged, it was
Kenneth?
House Kenneth. Yeah. Some time ago, during the early years of House Cannith developing some of the first Warforged, you recognize a woman on one of these passports as one of the scientists that was involved with the early creation of the first models of the Warforged.
Ooh. Oh, that's spicy. I like that. I think this one. I think I remember seeing this one some time ago. She was associated with House Cannith. Perhaps when we get back to Eberron, that would be a line of inquiry.
If she is a changeling, that will make it more difficult to find her.
In part. But there are ways to trap those who change their faces. Perhaps you know more than I, or you would know more than I. But with a bit of research, I'm confident.
You guys pilfer through Windfall's office. What are your guys' plans moving forward? What do you guys head back to the forges from here?
Yeah, probably.
Just as sort of an offhand comment or offhand question, I'll ask Mavafor as we're leaving. So Lord Mavafor, now that you've recently reacquired some new real estate, what are your plans?
I'll likely leave it in the capable hands of some of the residents here. They have declared their loyalty to me, so I don't have to worry too much about troublesome pit fiends.
Gonna say you could use it. You could use it as a public restroom. Sorry,
Not a
that's
bad
just
idea.
People come all from all over the plains to luxuriate themselves at the Red Belvedere. I don't think they would appreciate too drastic of a change. He'll look at the statue of the dragon in the center and kind of frowns. He's like, it could use a change in decorum, though.
But what if you put yourself there?
They'll all be statues of Mavathor by the end of the week.
It's not that he's hired a construction crew to do it. It's just a facet of his power upon the plane that all statues slowly form into Mavathar.
You have to stand there with like your fist like this. Show off your gauntlet.
Out in the astral sea somewhere, death metal music is playing over the speaker systems in Cass's ship, and
Of course it is.
Of course.
Lep, you're in one of the empty quarters in Cass's vampiric vessel. Currently, a pair of glinting ivory fangs is pushing two of your teeth out and growing in, enhancing your smile. And there's a there's like a knock on the outer door. You hear Cass's voice say, "Do you mind if I come in?"
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
The door slides, and Cass kind of steps 2 steps in, and he looks down. He says, "So it looks like your change is finished. How do you feel? Hungry?"
Yeah. Very hungry. Sorry, I'm still kind of waking up. I fell asleep. It was a lot earlier.
He says, "Yeah, that was a close call. How are you feeling about betraying your companions? I know that you probably felt that you didn't have much choice in the matter. Windfall
Well-
can be persuasive."
Well, yeah, it's either I don't step in and I lose the man I love, or I do step in and I lose all of my friends and family. So, yeah.
I'm sure when you are able to explain yourself, they'll forgive you.
I don't think Maveth will see it like that.
He's got something tucked under his arm in like a long velvet cloth is like wrapped around it. He says, well, I just had something lying around the ship. I guess now that you're part of the crew, you have to look the part." And he kind of hands it out to you.
Lep takes it and I guess undoes or takes off the cloth covering it.
Yeah, you unwrap it, and it is this elegant, long, elegant sort of silver blade. It's got this sort of Victorian-looking wrist guard at the end of it, and this like pristine silver thin-bladed sword is sort of besmirched by these like parts of the blade, or they seem like darkened or stained. And he says, well, perhaps you can use this to protect yourself if we bump into your companions, and they aren't as understanding as I hope they'll be for you. And
Lep sort of runs his hand over the blade and sort of stops at the smudges, but eventually goes past her and he says to Cass, "You know, I wasn't allowed to have a weapon. I mean, I had a staff, but Navathor didn't really trust me with one, and I kind of agreed with him. But I just wanted to say thank you. Out of all of this, Cass, I think you're... Well, I appreciate you. Not Windfall. I fucking hate her. But you, I appreciate.
He grins at you and he says, well, thank you. I think you're the first person that said that to me voluntarily in a very long time. Yeah.
I don't think you're as bad as Mercy and Lilith make you out to be.
Perhaps they will, in time, much like your forgiveness, come to understand that we want the same thing. And then you hear the music kind of turn down, and you hear Windfall's voice come over the speaker system, and she says, Cass, darling, the ship does not seem to be healing fast enough. I think we're going to have to land it somewhere and allow it some time to repair itself. And Cass sort of says out loud, he says, yeah, that's fine, Windfall, wherever you see fit. And she kind of turns the music back up, and you can feel the ship sort of change course, and Cass says, you are right to mistrust Windfall. She is a clever, vicious, dangerous woman, and we both have one thing in common. She has leverage over us. But I'll look out for you. And he
Thank you.
He says, let me know if the hunger gets too much, and bring you something to eat. And he kind of turns and leaves out the window of the ship in your quarters. You can kind of see out this sort of little porthole, and outside you can kind of see these you know, like when you look at kind of images of just like deep space, where there's just these big sort of formations of clouds and things that, you know, are almost impossible to sort of comprehend that it's like a real thing that exists out in the universe somewhere. There's these celestial bodies of deep space. Like you can kind of see these things out of your window, and just the vastness of it is fairly daunting. It's unlike anything you've seen in Avernus or in the Feywilds or the material plane. It sort of makes the intensity and the loss of parting with the others seem kind of small in comparison. The sheer vastness and momentousness of what's passing by outside in the astral sea and the wild space as you guys sort of hurtle through it. You can see kind of out of the window up ahead there are these floating masses of rock, what seem like rock. You can tell that there's like little bits of astral foliage kind of clinging to it, growing out of little crevices in the rock face, and you feel Cass's vessel touch down on it, and you guys are kind of floating out there in the astral sea. As you know, having passed through the rift that Windfall and Cass opened, in this part of the Astral Sea, you can kind of travel around outside of the vessel. So as they touch down and to allow the ship to sort of mend itself. If you want to, you can go out there and fly around. It's up to you. What would what would you like to do?
Yeah, I think Lep sort of takes it all in. I think I'm assuming there's like a mirror or like maybe in like the reflection of the window he sees himself and he just gives a deep sort of shaky breath as he realizes what he has become, and then just sort of goes outside and searches for Cass and sees if there's anything he can really do to help.
Yeah, I mean, Cass and Windfall, they've already like disembarked from the ship. They're kind of standing at the edge of the rocks, off to one side, having a conversation, talking about. Windfall's like asking Cass how long she thinks it'll take before, she's kind of agitated. She says, and Cass is kind of convincing her, like, well, to go where we're going, the ship's hull's going to have to fully seal it. Not all parts of wild space are the same. Even though I've never been to where you're going, I know once we leave this part of the Astral Sea, we're going to have to be whole. Probably take a few days before it fully mends itself. Really, it's just a waiting game at this point. And a little agitated, Windfall says, fine, I'll be back in a few hours. And you see her like step off of the edge of the rock that you guys are kind of drifting on, and she begins to just kind of like drift out into the Astral Sea, disappearing among the among the stars.
Wow, okay. So we're just gonna be stuck here for a few days?
What it sounds like.
Yeah, I imagine Lep sort of watches that and then just walks over to Cass and just attempts to conversate with him.
He actually he pulls out a deck of cards from inside of his vest pocket. Says, at least I have something that we can pass the time with. You want to go back inside the ship and play a game?
Yeah, sure. I did have a question though, before I forget.
Sure.
Am I gonna have to like, and he like gently touches his fangs, am I gonna have to like drink blood? I don't really know what it tastes like, and I don't know how that really works.
He says,
Or do you eat blood? I don't know the consistency of blood.
He says, I mean, eventually the hunger will gnaw at the edges of your mind so deeply that it'll be the only thing that you can really think about. You don't have to feed on people if you don't want to. I don't enjoy the taste of animal blood, personally. Out here in the Astral Sea, it should bide you some time. We don't have to eat or drink out here, but eventually it's a problem you'll have to deal with. And if you go too long, you will begin to weaken.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Do you want to talk about Lilith?
Yeah, I mean, well, I was gonna ask you something back when we were playing blackjack. You had said she was Stan's daughter, um Struth's
She
son's
is
shrub.
she is a princess of sorts. She is the daughter of a man named Baron Strahd von Zerovich, who rules over a realm of dread, much like the one I used to rule over in Shadowfell.
I didn't know you used to rule over a realm. That's cool.
Yeah, until it was overrun by Vecna's minions.
Yeah, that's not good.
I wouldn't say that her father and I are necessarily friends, but we are acquaintances. We have a history.
Oh. I mean, I don't even know who that is.
He much like all of us vampires, were once a man who turned down a dark road. He, as far as I remember, fell in love once with a beautiful woman, a peasant girl, if I remember the story correctly. This peasant girl had eyes for Strahd's brother, and eventually this drove Strahd to madness. He pushed his brother and this girl from the ramparts of their keep, and this was the beginning of Strahd's dark history. Eventually, the lands he ruled over were cast into darkness. Now, Barovia is mostly just a dark reflection of Strahd's mind.
That's really sad.
Yeah, the first time that I met his daughter, they were in the confrontation on the ramparts of Strahd's keep. I interrupted this conflict at just the right moment. Vecna's minions probably would have torn them all to bits if I hadn't arrived when I did, but she was a sight for sore eyes, if you ask me.
I'm sure she was. Cass. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna skip over that part.
Cass is like, yeah, well, you know. It's been a long time since I've had any genuine interest in another. Now that I don't have my own realms to rule over, I suppose that I have to find some new hobbies and interests. Perhaps it's time I got in touch with my emotions again. But,
that's a great idea. I could teach you how to make tea.
I suppose, yes. It's as good a place to start as any.
Yeah, I mean, tea comes in many forms, in many different styles and ways of creating it and making it, drinking it, embellishing it. What's
Yeah.
your favorite?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What's your favorite flavor? And we can start there.
Well, I mean, if you exclude blood, I guess I have to think about it for a minute. Ugh, what did I used to like? He's kind of thinking, and he says, you know, I've always been fond of the smell of lilacs.
Ooh. Well, let's start there.
I had a horse named Lilac once.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, then I guess we'll make this in her honor.
And when she died,
And-
I turned her into a vampire horse, but she just started sort of falling apart. It was pretty gross, actually. I ended up just burying her under the keep.
Oh. Well, we'll do this in honor of her living memory and not unliving memory. Maybe I'll give you something fun to look back on. And Lep is gonna try and teach Cass how to make some tea.
He says, yes, that is a good memory, actually. I kind of pushed it down. Lilacs, yeah. He goes and says, you know, actually, I have maybe something that could help you. And he goes and he comes back with like a big old dusty leather trunk, and he flops it open on the countertop where you guys are sitting. Kind of pushes the deck of cards to the side, and there's like vials of all kinds of little dried plants and flowers and stuff.
Ooh.
Normally I use these to concoct poisons, but I don't know, maybe you could use them to make tea?
Yeah, I certainly can. I mean, at the end of the day, tea is just, in its most primal form, just a flavorful drink that is soothing.
And he starts to like clink around in the pile of little vials of different things, and he says, here. And he pulls out one with these like just mega dried out old lilac petals.
Oh, okay. Let's see what we can do.
And as you're in the ship there, on this hunk of rock in the Astral Sea, teaching Lord Cass how to make tea. You know, he just every once in a while he'll like think of some old memory of his earlier life before he spent some time as the Lord of Tovag, his dread realm, and he'll kind of recount little parts of his life. Every once in a while, you'll catch him like look over his shoulder to make sure that like Windfall hasn't come back to glean some bit of this of these memories that he's divulging to you, but so that you can't use them against him at some later point. But yeah, you and Cass spend some time bonding together. You find like when it's just the two of you, you know, the facade that he kind of puts on in front of others drops away a little bit, and there does seem to be like some sliver of a genuine being in there somewhere.
That's good. I think the first time since I think since Leb was turned into was bitten by Cassie, he actually smiles.
Is there anything else you would try and get out of Cass?
No, I think Leb is just trying to have a good time.
Give me a nature check.
Yeah. Nature check. I'm good at those. I think.
Using the dried out lilac and a few of the other palatable things that you find in Cass's collection of dried out poison making ingredients, you make a pretty decent tea. Probably the first time in a while without using magic.
Yeah.
And Cass seems to enjoy the process of it. He says, you know, actually this is kind of therapeutic, like making poisons is for me. Although the ending result it doesn't end in someone's eventual demise. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's supposed to make you feel better.
Yeah. Well, I do feel I don't know what the right word for it would be, but maybe a sense of peace. I haven't felt it some time. I thank you for that.
Well, of course, Cass. We all need our little moments of peace and happiness when we can get them.
He puts his hand on his shoulder and he like locks eyes with you. And he says, and you can kind of see like there's like a bit of genuine emotion as he says this. And he says, truly, I'm sorry for what Windfall made you do.
It's
the downstream effects of betrayal I've learned over my long life can stay with you for too long.
yes, well, I mean, I wasn't gonna take the chance to lose him again. With everything that's happened, I just hope the others will understand. Especially Marathor. There are times I feel like that man doesn't even know what love is. I just hope I'm wrong.
Well, perhaps perhaps it's something he'll learn. We all have something to learn.
Yes.
And perhaps that is his weakness.
I'm not so sure about that. I think everyone can learn.
It's been a
And
long
change.
time for myself, but not knowing how to love is a pain of its own kind.
Well, then let me be the first to tell you, or to show you, a sense of love. And Lep is gonna go and just give a hug.
Yeah, let's try it. And he kind of like with his suit of armor off, he's a pretty burly guy, and he kind of squeezes you a little too tight. He says,
Oh, I can't breathe.
Yeah, got some work to do. Maybe we'll try again tomorrow. Maybe.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah.
leave that to T for now. I don't know about this.
Yeah. Yeah, handsome
Well,
petite.
at least, now. What do you think? Maybe if I get the chance to give Lilith a hug, was that too hard or?
I Cass, have you thought to just look at Lilith and think maybe there's other ways to? Maybe instead of trying to romance her, you could start with befriending her. I mean, the best.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think of that. I'm used to people just doing what I say.
Yeah, well,
Is what we're
the
doing
best-
right now? Is that are we building a friendship? Is that what's happening here?
I would think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty friendly.
I'll try to remember this interaction the next time I see
Yeah, just don't.
her.
It takes a little to get a little.
Okay. I'll think about it. You've been very helpful, I would say.
Of course. It's what I do.
I think we're going to have an interesting friendship. I already enjoy it more than my relationship with Vince.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
And you guys just kind of spend the rest of the evening, playing card games. Kind of in the main hull of the ship where the devil kind of blasted a hole in the top, where there's kind of you guys can kind of see up into space. So there's like a little. What is it called? Window out to the astral sea, and there's little drops of blood kind of dripping from the damage of the ship onto the floor inside.
I think it takes a lot of will and restraint to not try and take one of those drops of blood.
Yeah. But you can see that it's slowly sort of closing itself, and the ship, as it's kind of powered down, seems to be using most of its energy to just mend the damage that it took in the escape. And it's kind of slowly closing itself. It'll take some time to repair itself, and you guys have a couple days here in the astral sea to kill. And let's see if any dangers develop as you guys are drifting out here, because it is still a dangerous place. You guys are kind of stranded.
Yeah.
While the ship heals before you guys can leave this part of the astral sea to where Windfall wants to go. But she has left for the time being, and it's kind of just you and Cass for now. The rest of you guys have we'll have to kind of go between the two parties until you guys are reunited, but we'll see how it goes. You guys make your way back, eventually finish up in the Red Belvedere. Leave with is there anything else you guys want to take out of there? Mavathor, is there anything else you want to do in the Red Belvedere before you guys head out back to the forges?
You would request the party's earnings so that they can convert it into an actually usable currency outside of the Red Belvedere.
Oh yeah, you guys, did you want them back in soul coins or gold?
I think for Mavathor, he'd want half soul coins, half gold.
How many talons do you guys have in total?
We had
5,250.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry.
5,000.
I was looking at my character sheet and it was there.
Could Lep have dropped his talons on the chase with Windfall, so that they don't go to waste?
I mean, sure, if you wanted to.
Yeah. Add 990 talons to that.
Hey.
5250 plus what was it?
990.
Right. So 6240 divided by 2. It's 31. Okay, so you exchange. We'll just round it. You exchange those talons for. That doesn't. You get 10 soul coins back. 300 talons is 1 soul coin, so you get 10 soul coins. And 31,000 gold. 10 gold for 1 talon. $31,200 gold to be exact. Which will probably fund some of the changes to Avernus. And you guys head back to the. Do you have any business in the forges, or do you just want to spend a long rest there?
I think just a long rest.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you open a gate from the Red Belvedere to the Forge Mavathor,
Mm-hmm.
because you can do that here. You guys spend an evening in the forges. This was kind of a dungeon master fumble, but you guys did have an NPC with you that I sort of completely forgot about.
Oh, yeah.
We left him at the forge.
And I think
We hit him in the plot hole.
and I think of that they have made their own way back to the material plane at this point.
Mhm.
Fair.
Just because I don't think anyone's interested in that NPC, including.
Poor guy.
Before you guys, I imagine you guys are probably going to head back to. Well, why don't you guys talk about your plans? You guys can do that while you're long resting. So, I don't want to tell you guys what to do, but just so I can get it in my own head, what I'd like to hear what you guys plan on doing next.
I think
okay.
Lilith. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, after you.
Okay. I think Lilith's gonna try and contact the Raven Queen in her dreams when she goes to sleep.
Okay. I guess we can do that. Why don't we do that last? Why don't you guys talk about your plans first, and then we'll have a dream sequence, because I have some.
All right. Well, I only need. I'm an elf, so with the extra 4 hours of free time, I'll go ahead and add suggestion to my spellbook. I still have those cultist spellbooks with a bunch of stuff I haven't added yet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I still have this grimy flesh-covered spellbook I got from the last campaign from the Arcana Loth. So,
Ooh.
well,
Okay,
I don't know if you're interested in this, but
you want to give that to Jin? That's cool.
sure.
I'll
Yeah.
take a look.
Uh,
Flesh-covered spellbook.
Hmm.
In addition to that, I'll go hit both the sniper rifle and the pistols with identify on the off chance that they're magical in some way.
Yeah, all three are, but I'm gonna have to make those items.
Okay.
They just kind of showed up because investigation checks, you know.
As these things do.
Yeah. But I can give you a Arcana Lost spellbook. I can do that quickly.
Huzzah.
Yeah, before they take a rest, Mavithor's gonna have a meeting with Caraxus and some devilish mercenaries he's gonna hire.
Sure, yeah. Where you guys like gather them in your. I guess the forges probably have like a war room of sorts, probably. Yeah. Yeah, you gather Graxus. Any particular kinds of mercenary devils that you're looking to hire?
Specifically Rakshasas and Orthons.
Morthons?
Orthons.
Orthons. Okay. Graxus spreads the word for these types of mercenaries and gathers them for you. In
And I'll
fairly short order.
message. Yeah, I'll message you what he's gonna do.
If you wanted to change the spell you were going to scribe there, Jin, you're more than welcome to. I dropped it in general chat, the spell book.
Yeah, we'll still. Actually, you know what? We'll take detect thoughts instead.
Nice.
I don't think I have that. That's pretty handy.
Well, you are messaging me, Mabithor. We can do Lilith's thing here. So Lilith, as you are sleeping, you don't know if you're dreaming or not, but after you go to sleep, you and the others have returned up to Neverwinter, the material plane, and after the others had after you all had sort of reported back to Lord Neverember about the death cult that you uncovered and the 2 of the 4 missing citizens of Neverwinter that you recovered. You guys kind of part ways for the evening in Neverwinter, and you are. It's kind of a cloudy evening. There's like a dark sky hovering over the city of Neverwinter, and you haven't spent much time on the material plane at all, really, and you are sort of walking through the streets of Neverwinter, taking in the city. And, there are people meandering about through the streets, and you notice at some point throughout your casual stroll that there is something following you. Every so often you catch some flutter of dark movement out of the corner of your eye, and every time you look up, there's like a large dark raven perched up on like the edge of a house or an inn, and at one of these times where you're sort of stopped and looking at this bird, it kind of flies down towards you, and just like flies past, and it flies so close that you can feel like the tips of its wings brush against your cheek, and it kind of expands its wings and turns down like a dark alleyway.
Lilith follows it.
When you turn the corner, there's no sign of the raven, but you do see about halfway down this alleyway, this kind of damp cobbled stone, between rows of buildings, you see an old woman who's kind of slumped against a wall, and she's like humming a bit of a raspy tune. Her head's kind of concealed with she's dressed kind of raggedly, but you can see like wisps of gray and white hairs kind of spilling out of a hood she's got over her head. And in front of her, what she's humming to, there are these two young girls, and they're sort of on their hands and knees hovering over a circle that they've drawn on the cobblestone in like chalk, and they're playing like a game of marbles. There's like a half a dozen marbles in this circle, and they're flicking the marbles at each other, trying to hit this like larger marble in the center. They're probably 30 feet away from you, maybe, as you turn into the alleyway.
I think she kind of just looks around and see if anything seems out of the ordinary with this whole situation besides, the old woman kind of creepily humming.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a perception check or an insight check if you wanted to.
Okay. Nat 20.
I guess you sort of realize in this moment that you are probably dreaming, and you get the sense that now at this point you're kind of lucid dreaming. You become acutely aware what seem to just be like thoughts drifting in your sleeping unconscious mind. It all becomes very sharp and clear, and it seems more real all of a sudden, and you kind of feel yourself grounded inside of your own body, and you can smell the cold night air, and you realize you're dreaming, but something about it just feels very real.
I think she thinks back to all the conversations she's had with Mathathor so far, and I think she's gonna walk up to the old woman and be like, excuse me, should I know you?
She stops her like raspy humming, and her head kind of crooks to one side, and you can see like her old weathered face, and she kind of looks up into your eyes with these kind of glazed over. Her eyes are kind of glazed over white, and she says, I don't think we know each other, but your dreams have been troubled, haven't they, child?
Yes, they have. I've been seeing these weird visions of ravens, and my old party members, they were killed, and I keep having this reoccurring dream of ravens taking them.
She says, I don't think we know each other. We are alike in that way. My dreams have been troubled as of late as well. We're both children of the shadows, born of secrets and lies.
That we are.
She says, no. The only way to rid yourself, your shadow, is to live in the light.
It's kind of hard to do that though when you live in the domain of dread.
She says, yes. Well, it was never my fate. But it could be yours if you do something about it. She says, you see, the Whispered One is coming. Coming to take our secrets, our memories. Coming to change our fates, all of us.
You speak of Vecna?
She nods her head slowly. She kind of darts her glazed over eyes down at the two children playing the little game of marbles before the two of you. She says, you are daughter of shadows who was born in the light. And it is your turn to defend our memories. And sort of in a quicker motion than you would think that she could make, she reaches out and she grabs your arm. And your birthmark and the mark of Vecna that you now bear both sort of burn painfully at the same time as she grabs your forearm. In this like little moment of agony, you feel like her grip on your arm disappear, and the old woman is gone. And there's just like a pile of old ragged clothes that she was wearing left behind, but there's something inside of it that's like moving around. And then as you kind of like turn to look towards the two children, both of them are like now standing there right in front of you. And you kind of recognize them. They're standing side by side. One of them is like wreathed in a little sort of aura of dark energy, and the other one is sort of wreathed in a little aura of light energy. And the one with the aura of dark energy is holding out this dark leather sack out to you. And just like the old woman, their eyes are kind of glazed over, and you recognize the children as they both look exactly like you as you were a child. And you can kind of see your reflection in their glazed over eyes. And the little girl holding the bag of marbles, she sort of like gestures out for you to take them from her.
Lilith hasn't, like, very hesitantly takes them.
As soon as you take this old leather satchel, you can feel this like little marbles shifting around in there. You can hear them clicking together, and as soon as you take them, the two figures of the little girls turn into ravens and fly away. You can kind of like watch them against the darkness of the cloudy sky hovering over Neverwinter, and then sort of shuffling its way out of the little pile of clothes, a third raven is still sort of there, and it hops out of the little bundle of old rags on the ground and looks up at you, and then you like sit up in your bed back in the forges, and the raven is perched on the little post of your bed, and you still can feel the sack of marbles in your hand.
I think she immediately bolts to Mavathor. So remember how I was saying that I kind of think the Raven Queen was trying to contact me?
Yes.
I think I contacted her. And I showed like the bag of marbles, and then I guess I kind of like brought the Raven over, or at least attempted to bring it over.
You can bring the marbles over.
He'll,
I kind
like,
of shown.
yeah, he'll look at them and be like, it's an odd token.
That's what I thought too. There were these two little girls playing with marbles. This old woman. They all kind of turned into ravens. It was a very bizarre dream, actually.
There's 5. Well, there's 6 marbles in the little satchel in total, and they're all about the same size, and they're kind of cloudy and white, just like the eyes of the old woman and the 2 girls. How closely do you look at them, Mavathor?
Pretty closely.
All right. I'm gonna put you all on the spot here a little bit. Actually, before I put you guys on the spot here a little bit, let's take our mid-session break. It's a good half point here. Here's what I'm going to ask you. I'll tell you guys. Here's what I'm going to ask you for that. You can have the break to think about it. What's essentially going to be contained within these marbles are memories, memories from each of you. The 6th one will be something different, but contained in each one of these little marbles is a memory from each of your pasts that involves or is invested with feelings of pain, sorrow, longing, guilt, or remorse. That Lilith's been handed here. A memory that somehow has been hoarded, squirreled away, and now bestowed upon Lilith. And I'm gonna ask each one of you to recount a memory kind of from your past involving these feelings. But we'll take our mid-session break first.
All right.